Hey everybody, Stu Smith here going live. Hope you guys are well today, this Monday morning. It's always nice to begin the week with a mobility day. And why do we do that? Well, a couple reasons. Usually, if we start off the week with what we call our easy mobility day, which I will say this, it is relative. Easy is, it's not easy trying to get good at stretching and moving and full range of motion type movements. It takes work, and we devote this day to that. We lay off the running and we spend some time doing non impact cardio, followed by stretching, foam rolling, massage tooling, full range of motion, every joint. And it feels great when you're done. Um, but why do we do that on a Monday? Usually it's our middle of the week or end of the week event. But this last week, we got after it, went pretty hard on a Friday. I think it was like a 10-mile ruck almost that we did, um, followed by a hard swim workout, followed by a full body Saturday workout where, once again, these things are um, relatively difficult depending on your fitness level. A Murph plus a Devil's Mile plus a log PT simulator. It's a hard workout that usually leaves you kind of banged up a little bit. So we took Sunday off, and then we come into Monday, do a mobility day. We got a couple of guys that are doing a PST today and an IFT tomorrow. So it's a testing week for them, but it's also a recovery day. So anyway, that's why we do it. We take take a little mobility day after a tough week of workouts, tough weekend of workouts, a hard race. I saw recently somebody broke the pull up record again. Um, Haynes um, did 10,000 pull ups in 24 hours. I bet he'll take a few days off after that one. Yeah, his hands were pretty beat up. But anyway, events that are tough on you, racing events, sometimes you just need a day to recover. And, but you're not resting per se. You're just active rest. You're non-impact cardio, stretching, foam rolling, massage tooling, all those little things. Anyway, for me, it's awesome. For the younger guys who need help with their hip, knee, ankle, and shoulder mobility to be better at swimming and treading and those type of activities, it's great for them as well. So it's not just for old people. So consider it. If you haven't seen the mobility day, what it is, just read in the description. I put it in there, and all these reasons why I think it's great to do this type of rest day for tough training, whether it's in the middle of the week or the beginning of the week. That's kind of up to you. And you can also add in a Saturday, or a Sunday mobility day. I do that often as well. In fact, my new ageless athlete workout for fitness over 50, it has 2 mobility days a week in there. And how's that different from my 40 and over training program? My 40 and over program has 1 mobility day a week in there. And I've just noticed over the last decades of doing these type of tough workouts, if you want to stay after it and get after it, sometimes you need an easy day and lots of stretching and massage tooling and things like that, just so you're not in pain and getting tight. All right, so that's my intro to the live Q&A session. If you guys have questions, send them. I do these every Monday and Tuesday, 9:30 a.m. sometimes, depending on my schedule. And ready to take some questions. If I don't see any questions, I do have some CSS videos I can share. Got a lot submitted this week, and I probably won't be able to go through all of them anyway on tomorrow's show, which is a live Q&A session and CSS critique show. But if you have questions, send up. I don't see any. Good morning, John, over here on Instagram, over here on YouTube. And by the way, if you guys sign in over here on YouTube or Instagram, don't have the time to watch the whole Q&A, I post these over on YouTube now, and I have recently put a few of them on Reels as well, so you can find the full Q&A session. Never know, might be something that people have the similar questions. A lot of these questions I've seen dozens of times over the years. Write articles about them. I put links into the comment section of where you can find these articles as well. So try to make your process of learning a little bit easier. So here's our first question over here. Luke says, if I'm trying to progress running and lifting, how should my cycle be of more lifting, less running, and then more running, less lifting? Well, there's many ways to do it. I have found over the years the ways that work best for most people, and I'm talking about lifters, non-lifters, um, and everybody in between. My advice is this: if you have a weakness, focus on that weakness. Could be running, could be lifting. That's your primary focus, is to not have a weakness. Now, let's say you're a lifter and running's your weakness. Well, guess what? You probably don't need to lift that much. You probably have lifted enough in your life to be strong, and the chances of you getting weak are almost impossible. I was that guy, and I went from 12 years old, started lifting, 13-year-old, 14 years old, powerlifting in high school, and playing football, and anything over 100 yards was long distance, so running sucked for me. I could do it, but it just wasn't something I did well. So I focused on running and calisthenics and swimming. So I basically turned myself into a triathlete: run, bike, swim, calisthenics, and I didn't lift. I mean, if I went to lift, it might have been like once a week just to get a pump, and it was nothing like I was doing before, going super heavy. Um, so that helped me a lot. And when I started lifting again, let's say a year later, I didn't lift for a solid year, really. It was like 6 weeks I was back to my 1 rep maxes, so you're not going to lose a whole lot. You might lose some 1 rep maxes while you're going at it, but focus on your weakness, improve that weakness to a point where it's no longer a weakness, right? It may be a little bit of a gut check, right? So you have to dig down a little bit to perform well, but it's not a pass fail issue. That's where I would say it's no longer a weakness. It's just more of you're not as great at it as the other activities. So my advice is this: we do this workout right here, and then we do another one in the spring, very similar to it, right? Where it's a block periodization model, where you go 3 weeks, pure focus on your weakness. So let's say, like right now, we're 3 weeks into lifting. We're still doing calisthenics to warm up, cardio to cool down. But a primary energy source is focusing on lifting, right? We still run, we still bike, we still swim, but it's not a primary energy source. Our primary energy source and effort level is focusing on getting bigger and stronger. And our secondary is warming up with calisthenics, so we maintain some cals, and cooling down with some cardio. So that is how our lifting cycle works. It's not a typical lifting cycle, where you just lift, right? You want to maintain some calisthenics and cardio in there. That's how we maintain it. Then on the 4th week of that, it's our lifting deload week, where we will do purely calisthenics and cardio. And that's what we did last week. It was a big calisthenics and cardio week, grinded out a long run, ruck type of thing. And So anyway, we're back into lifting this week, though we're just doing a mobility day today. So anyway, that's how it works. 3-to-1 block periodization is what it's called. And all of these programs have that in it: the seasonal tactical fitness periodization models, the spring training program, and the increased strength um, and crush the PST, IFT are all block periodization models where your primary focus is 3 weeks, your secondary focus is 1 week. 3-to-1, 3-to-1, 3-to-1. You go through a 12 to 16 week cycle like that, and I promise you, you're going to get stronger and you're going to maintain your calisthenics and cardio at the same time. Flip that upside down in the summer. What we do, or in spring too, is we will focus on 3 weeks of calisthenics and cardio, little bit of lifting mixed in there, maybe weight vest based type of lifts, but not super heavy. Um, but we're progressing. We're progressing with the runs. We're progressing with the repetitions, and slowly decreasing the weight to where till we get into the summer where it's 3 weeks of cals and cardio, pure cals and cardio, running progression, steep. Then we do a 1 week running cals deload, and we do a lift week. That has worked wonders for our guys. Not only from hard gainers in the winter coming into the summer training cycle, but the other two, the big lifters who need to get better at running, were able to get better at running with that as well. So anyway, that's how we do it. You figure it out, what's going to work best for you. You can follow programming ideas or try to develop your own on that same 3-to-1 block periodization. I've written a bunch of articles on that 3-to-1 block periodization actually, and you can find it over on stewsmithfitness.com. Um, our initial trial of this was a 4-to-2, where we did 4 weeks of lifting, 2 weeks of cals and cardio, and found that, in a 12-week cycle, that was 8 weeks of lifting, 2 weeks of or 4 weeks of cals and cardio. If you break that up, that's all, a third of it being cals and cardio. So we switched it up and we did 3-to-1, which gave us, in a 12-week cycle, gave us 9 weeks of lifting, 3 weeks of cals and cardio. So just seemed a little bit more logical to do it that way. And we tested both out and we liked the 3-to-1 better. Everybody did, to the person, and saw huge results. Not only did we maintain our cardio and calisthenics during the lift cycle, but we got stronger, we got bigger, and cals and cardio improved. In some, if they didn't improve, they maintained the same because they didn't need to improve. All right, next question. So I got my final PST on Thursday morning, wrapped up my last full-on workout this past Saturday, rested yesterday, was planning to do a run today, mobility days, Tuesday, Wednesday. Thoughts? Yeah, I don't think you need to rest that much. But if it's very important and you can't fail this thing, maybe that's okay. But eventually, my advice is this: don't let a PST ruin a week of training. Right? That's kind of, unless you needed a deload, I wouldn't just deload for a PST. Deload because you're burned out and you're showing signs of overtraining, which can happen. Not because of training, it can happen simply because you're sleeping like crap or not eating well, or working on top of it, night shifts type of stuff. So that's my recommendation on PSTs. Don't let them ruin a week of training by just a bunch of day offs. So there you go. I would say at least a mobility day before, a day off once a week, and a mobility day the day of and before the PST should be plenty. Where could I get a hold of your tactical mobility ebook? Can't find it anywhere. Tried Amazon, but there's nothing. Good question. I don't think I have an ebook of it. Amazon. There's a Kindle, maybe. Amazon. What am I looking up? Tactical Mobility. It's a book I did with a couple other people. It's in book format. You can get it pretty cheap over there, like $17, but I don't see the format being. Nope, sorry, I don't see it in Kindle format. I don't have it. A publisher did that one. I don't have access to it to make it an ebook. So apologize. I will say this though: if you're looking for really good mobility exercises, I'm not sure how old you are, but my new ageless athlete workout is really good. It's got 2 mobility days a week. It walks you through the mobility day process. I would look at that one. Pictures, videos, you name it. It's got it all in there. It's got book and ebook options. It's kind of nerdy, abstract question from Chris. He says, but have you studied any warrior cultures in history? An elite warrior yourself? Do you feel connection of any of these cultures or their mindsets? Um, Yes and no. I mean, I haven't, when you say studied, I've read about them. I can't say I've studied them and given reports on any of them. But I will say this at the Naval Academy in their um, leadership area, loose hall, they call it leadership department, they have studies of warrior cultures, everything from Comanche warriors, um, like Japanese culture, not ninjas, but their warrior culture. I'm blanking. All types. Viking cultures. So all of the ancient cultures. There have been some really interesting, um, personality traits and cultural activities that set them apart, but also parallel them to modern day warriors as well. So Um, other than just reading through it and being kind of curious and watching, countless um, shows like that, whether it's Vikings or ninjas or you name it, Native American warriors, all of them, yeah. They're great ideas to learn. I don't have any good books for you to read on that topic. Um, because most of my lack of a better term reading and studying about them came from uh, listening to people give their presentations on a particular warrior culture that they were speaking on at the academy, as well as just countless shows and just reading about them online as well. But yes, I think that is a useful um, education for you because you can pick up some interesting things throughout the millennia of warrior cultures, everything from honor and morals. Some had none, but some were very um, right and wrong driven. So kind of interesting. Got another PST Thursday. I'm still recovering from shin splints. How do you think these next few days should look for me right before my PST? I'm using your Navy PST book. Shin splints, start exercising and stretching your shins regularly. Ankle mobility exercises are critical. Heel walks, toe walks. Um, I would avoid running, get some new shoes, and if you're going to run, maybe run on some softer ground, rubberized track, dirt, turf fields, things like that, beach versus concrete or pavement. and go hard bikes. Do some hard bikes to get your cardio up, and hard swims, so you're at least get your heart and lungs working when you can't get your feet and shins handling impact yet. So biking, swimming hard, and doing all the exercises for your shins and ankle mobility are key at this time. Should I eat a maintenance Stu, should I eat at maintenance during a block periodization or at slight deficit? What about slight surplus during lifting week? It's up to you. It kind of depends on your schedule and what you want to do. Do you want to gain weight? You need a surplus. Do you want to lose weight? You're at a deficit. Do you want to maintain weight? Eat perfectly balanced with your output. I mean, it's not as simple as just calories in, calories out, but it is really close. I mean, if you use that as a guideline, you're probably going to be plus or minus 10% right or wrong, depending on your measurements and guesstimations. But it kind of depends on what you're trying to do. I personally like to eat. I am always eating for energy to train hard, but I'm also eating to not gain weight, even lose weight. I'll go through cycles where I'm trying to lose weight. Like right now, trying to get down to 200. Have dropped about 8 pounds in the last 8 weeks. What week is it? Yeah, since January, so a little bit more, a little about 5 weeks. So I'm doing a deficit, but still hitting all the workouts like I always have. Just when I do eat carbs, it's before a workout, so I have plenty of energy to do that. Let's see. Jeremy says, can't fail this one. Feeling some fatigue. Last 12 weeks have been a big push for psoas PST. Yep, understand. But appreciate your advice. I'll add in tough one today. Yeah, I think that's fine. Should we always be doing push ups to fist depth or all the way down to the deck? Your choice. I kind of do both. Sometimes it's difficult to do fist depth if you don't have a fist under you or that height. So I'll just go all the way down and touch my chest, or maybe be an inch from the ground sometimes. Um, kind of up to you. I would recommend both, but probably more often than the other would be go chest to deck most of it, and then do some testing sets at fist depth or 90-degree depth, depending on how they're testing you, because it changes quite frequently. So just make sure you know how they're testing you. Let's see here. We got a question. Had to take 5 weeks off of running due to a rolled ankle. Oof, that sucks. Had plenty of those. Was running around 25 miles per week before injury. Is there a good reference point to start back at mileage wise? So 5 weeks off, I would give yourself at least 2, maybe 3 weeks before you're up to 25 miles a week again. That is my least conservative measure. A lot of people say how many weeks you're off, that's how many weeks you should take before you get back to where you were. I'm somewhere between 50-60% of that. Some people say double. I've seen very conservative, it's like if you're off 10, take or 5 week, take 10 weeks to get back to where you were. Everybody has an opinion on it. I think it really kind of depends on the injury. Given your rolled ankle, my advice is it's probably not going to be that difficult to run distance. It would be difficult to run like in a rugby game or a football game, soccer game, where your lateral movements, that would probably take more time to build back up to that versus just running. Any tips for following one of your plans? but not having access to a pool every day of the week. Should I substitute or switch around the swim workouts to meet the needs? Yeah, in most of my programs, I talk about like what happens if you don't have a pool, right? Or you can't run. So my standard um my standard ratio, okay? Let's say you can't get to the pool and you have a 2,000-yard swim you need to do. So for me, my ratio is for every 500-yard swim I miss, I have to do 10 minutes of another form of cardio. That's either running more or biking or elliptical or rowing, whatever you feel like you want to do that day. It's a 10-minute to 500-yard ratio. So you owe 40 minutes of some form of cardio if you miss that swim. Or bump it to another day and double up your swim mileage or yardage. You can do it one of two ways. Not a problem. Let's see. It looks like I got all those questions answered. Let's see. All right. Logan says, "Hey Stu, recently switched from the bike pyramid to the stair stepper and notice it's pretty brutal." Yes. Nice work. I would agree. I've had pretty brutal bike workouts too, but I will find that the stair stepper is a new special kind of leg suck. Let's just put it that way. Would you recommend stair stepper? Yes. And for how long to get aerobic effect? In fact, I wrote an article on it. Let me find it for you. Stair stepper. In fact, I don't even have to type in the whole word, it pops up. So check out this article. It's on military.com and it's called, for those looking to join special ops, weighted stair steps are a useful tool. Check it out. I'll put it over here on Instagram as well. That is the name of the article. You can just Google that. I know you can't click it over here on Instagram, but check it out. Especially if you're looking at a cardio for a leg day top off. Let's say you can't ruck, you can't swim with fins that day. Put on a weight vest and get on the stair stepper. It is a really good transition. We had a firefighter turn us on to that one when he was preparing for a firefighter competition, and we were all impressed. So much so it became a staple for some of our guys, and they did really well at their selections. Just the legs were just so strong. Advice: I'm a skydiver. Should I attend national skydiving competition 1.5 months before SFAS selection? That's a good question. I don't know. I've never really observed a skydiver competition, so I'm not sure how physical that is. The potential for injury, I would guess, is relatively high, depending on how you land, where you land, things like that. Um, that's a good one. I usually have this. I have the standard, right, of like 6 months out. For 6 months out, try to avoid things where you could get injured. So that would mean if you like doing triathlon training, let's go a stationary bike instead of a road bike. If you're playing contact sports, let's lay off the contact sports. Let's focus purely on your actual selection prep. If you're doing martial arts, let's lay off the punching and getting punched. I've seen guys like break their face because they got punched within 6 months before shipping and then they couldn't ship. Break their hands, get an elbow or wrist lock gone bad. Road races, marathon and above type of endurance races 6 months out before you ship. Sometimes that can deter your training significantly. So that is my answer in a generic form. But to be honest with you, I don't know enough about skydiving competitions to judge whether or not that's a physically demanding or dangerous activity. I mean, obviously, skydiving is dangerous in any level, but you know, relatively safe, if that makes sense. So I'm afraid I don't have a good answer for you. What's the best ruck vest? Good question. I have a great weight vest that I use that is right off of weightvest.com, right? And it's just a typical, you go to weightvest.com and look through their 35 to 50 pound weight vests. And I got myself the V Force weight vest, and it's awesome. 40-pound V Force, couple $100, well worth it. Well worth it. Plus, it's so versatile, compared to just a ruck. You carry the weight on the front and the back, a little more balanced. But I would recommend going to weightvest.com if you're looking for a weight vest to practice load bearing rucking in. How many guys moved from out of state to train with you? Over the years, hundreds. At any one time, maybe a dozen. So it's pretty common these days. In fact, we tend to have more out of state folks than we do locals, believe it or not. So excited for you to talk to us Wednesday for camp. Yep, I will be there. Actually, I have a couple of things I'm doing on Wednesday. I'm doing a ROTC Zoom call for the folks down in Tulane. And then I got you guys at the academy on Wednesday. Looking forward to it. All right, let's see what else we got. Reading over your tactical fitness and tactical strength book, I enjoyed it. I just ordered your SWAT workout book. I'm still curious how you waive your weight lifting. Is that something you could go over? Can you give me your definition of wave your weightlifting? I'm not sure what you mean by waiving my weightlifting. Did you misspell that or something, or mean something else? I'm not sure what you're talking about. I love these chats. I listen to them every day. Oh, well, thank you, Parker. I appreciate it. So, Court, help me with this question. I'm not sure what you're asking. I love the Wolf tactical vest and 2 different plates. Yeah, plate carriers are awesome. I use them for my rucks. Would recommend. Yeah, I have plate carriers as well. I like those well too. Sorry, I meant like how 531 and others waive their lift percentage wise. Okay, I got you. So yeah, I use multiple types of weightlifting workouts, and I primarily put repetition ranges in there. So I will say, I know a lot of people don't do this, but I will do this. I'll put, let's say, bench press, and I'll put 5 sets, 5 to 10 reps. So what that means is, if you want to go heavy, I want you closer to 5. If you want to go a little lighter, I want you closer to 10. And somewhere in between that, you're going to probably have a little fudge factor of, I didn't go heavy enough, so I got 6. I didn't go light enough, and I got 10 was too easy, so I'm add a little weight. So you got to kind of find your weight. And instead of me using your percentages of your 1 rep max, which I know is the common way to do it, I'm not really looking for that. I'm not looking to necessarily build impressive 1 rep maxes. I'm trying to build more strength, but with a durability factor to it. So there's a lot of active rests in this. It's not a pure strength training program. Remember, this is kind of like a tactical strength program, getting ready for selection. Now, if I was an active duty guy, I probably wouldn't do it this way. I'd probably go back to old school lift cycles, um, focus on my strength, do a little bit of cardio on the back end, maintaining everything, um, versus trying to prepare my body for a very challenging fitness test and selection process after it. So that has been my audience for decades. And I really leave the active duty guys, um, to their professionals that they have at their teams. And I focus on, if you were to think about the different phases of tactical fitness, I focus on phase one, which is you need to pass this fitness test to get to the training. And then phase two, you need to pass this selection to get through the training. And phase three is your active duty operator training, which is going to look a lot different than your pre selection training. Does that make sense? So that's why I write it the way I do with rep ranges. So you can play around with both. You can play around with going heavy for 5x5s or even 3 or 1s, even if you want to throw in a heavy one in there. But you can also play around with lighter rep ranges, maybe go body weight for max reps and try to hit some double digit numbers for body weight uh, rep ranges, higher rep ranges. So does that make sense, Court? Morning, Stu. Do a lot of the out of state guys that train with you stay together, save money? I know it's expensive to get a single bedroom or studio. Yes, in fact, there's a couple of different places around here that rent bedrooms, like an Airbnb type of thing. Some of them go long term for them, so they kind of get off of the Airbnb thing. Um, but uh, yeah, it's multiple guys have places where somebody rents a house and then there's 3 bedrooms in it, and all 3 stew guys are in the same house. You that happens. There are people that also hire uh, guys here, whether you're working at a restaurant, bussing tables, or a yacht club, or um, some have even done some construction work locally, handyman type stuff. So people know who my guys are, and a lot of times we've even had locals whose kids have grown and gone on to the teams and do things that they have rented out their kids' bedrooms just because they want to give back to our program because it's a free program, and they're just being nice and renting out their room to one of our guys. So yeah, it's kind of nice. Not everybody has that opportunity because depending on how many people we have, but there are things that you can find that um, you become each other's um, social outlet as well. I mean, it's just you guys, and the great thing about these groups is that everybody's on the same track to go do something hard, and nobody in the group says, why don't you go get a real job? Why are you joining the military, or why you want to be a SWAT team guy? So that's the beauty of it. We've been doing it for a long time, so it's a lot of fun. How much physical activity do you actually do per day during buds besides Hell Week, which I'm sure you have to be physical every day? You do a lot. I mean, I don't know how to best answer this, but it's a long day's work. It's not just running and rucking and swimming and doing obstacle courses and doing grinder PTs. It is that, but that's spread out over the 5 days of the week. But there's also just taking care of stuff. You're always on your feet, you're cleaning boats, you're getting ready for the next evolution. It's a long day. So it's physical, but it's not necessarily grueling physically. There are grueling segments of the day that you have to be prepared for, but it's the grind that gets you more than anything else. Yeah, you might have a 4 mile timed run, an obstacle course, and some grinder PT in a day with some classroom time in between, but you've also been up for 18 hours. It's been a long day. So that's probably the hardest part. I don't have a percentage for you. Half, maybe. Let's see what we got here. Hey, hopped on a little late. Do you have any jammers you would recommend for swimming? I've never had any. Um, the ones I have worn were made by Hind, Hind jammers. I find them being pretty good. Where are they? Hind swim trunks. Maybe I'm spelling them wrong. What the heck? I can't find them. Tires pretty good. Speedo, Sporty, they're all pretty good. Maybe it's Hynd Hind swim trunks. Huh? Not finding them. Anyway, I don't have a good answer for you. I've bought a few pair over the years. Um, my advice is just go to a place to try some on, see which one you like. I personally kind of have a bigger butt than the average swimmer, so um, that's why I like the Hind kind. They tend to fit me better, whether they were Speedos or jammers. When it comes to rucking workout, would you recommend the weight vest or an actual rucksack? Is there any brands you would recommend? I've written articles about rucks to buy and weight vests to buy. You Google weight vest review and rucking review, Stu Smith. You'll be able to find the three choices I would recommend. Easy. But here's the deal. I wear weight vests versus a ruck these days just because I'm not wearing a ruck, to go train for, long rucks in the military anymore. But I want to uh, still do load bearing activities. For me, I like the weight vest. But if you're going to prepare for long rucking, you should ruck. Maybe mix in 50-50 with weight vests and rucking. But I wouldn't just weight vest ruck if you're going to be joining the Army Rangers, for instance, and not used to wearing a ruck at all, because it's a different feel for sure. Oh yeah, Brennan from 2013ish. Good to see you. Yeah, come back when you're in town and come join us. Um, let's see what else we got here. When it comes to a rucking workout, would you? Oh, you already answered that one. Somebody's answering you. Okay, great. Um, should it always hurt when I foam roll? Does that mean I should keep foam rolling it? You know what? I Every time I foam roll it doesn't necessarily hurt. Um, so I can't say that it should hurt. I mean, it doesn't seem logical that every time it should hurt. Um, Maybe you need to work on some more flexibility, mobility training because the way I look at it is the foam roller is kind of like giving yourself a deep tissue massage. Those hurt. I don't know if you ever had a deep tissue massage, but you're sore for 2 to 3 days after those things. I mean, they're not fun. So I guess if you really need it, that foam roller can definitely roll out some of those tight spots. But the big question is it helping you feel better? That's what it should be doing. Now, there's a big debate on whether or not it's making you more mobile and your muscles more flexible. I understand that. I understand that it doesn't help you with that. But I will say this: I feel better after I foam roll. Period. So I'm going to do it, just because it makes me feel better. You know, it's kind of like putting on my pajamas. I feel better when I put on my pajamas and I go to sleep. You know. So, all right. So, ruck frequency nearing Air Force selection ship date. We always ruck on leg days. So, we do a maximum of 2 leg days a week. So, we ruck twice a week. So, it's just part of our leg day activity. Doesn't have to be much, but it could be a long one too. Could be 5-10 miler if you want it to be. But we typically just go, on leg days, we may go for 30, 45 minutes with a ruck, or some offends for 30, 45 minutes. Depends on what you want to do that day. But one way or another, that's how we top off leg days. All right. Looks like I've answered everything. If I haven't, you guys can always email me, stu@stewsmith.com. Happy to answer your questions by email. You can also go to stewsmithfitness.com, check out the article section. There's a search feature in there. You can also go to Google, type in my name along with the question topic. Like, for instance, if you go to Google and type in rucksack review or ruck review Stu Smith, you'll see the 3 rucks I recommend. I think 2 of them are the Alice pack and the Molly pack. But those are more for military recommendations. And then I have a weight vest review article as well, but pretty much anything, So I've been writing articles for 20 plus years. So I think I have over 1,000 plus articles out there that you could definitely use a search feature for and find them. How much time do you recommend resting on your 50-50 swim workout? Well, eventually I recommend the CSS actually being the rest. So when you do your 50 free hard and get winded, try to catch your breath with that CSS at a nice steady pace, and that's your rest. But I realize not everybody can do that when they first start it. So maximum 15 seconds. All right. Anything longer than that, you're just wasting time. All right. And I want you to get winded during the workout. So that's what you need to do. You need to get in better swimming shape. So keep swimming. Don't rest so much. Yes. After the lift, we do the ruck. Leg day, we ruck. Or swim with ends. Your choice. All right, guys, I've been almost here for 50 minutes. I don't want to take up all your time. I appreciate your time, though. So I'll be back tomorrow. You guys go check out Stu Smith Fitness. Save 15% by using the Live15 coupon code if you're interested in getting anything over there. Got lots of answers for you with block periodization as well as specific fitness testing and selection prep. So check it out, and I'll be back tomorrow, same time. We'll see you later.